Officer of the Waters. Now, this one, honestly, remind me a little bit of the Black Keys, actually.
All right.
But vocally, I loved your different pitches. I loved how you can kind of manipulate your voice a little bit, and just the trying to think the best way to put this. Just the production and I guess like the mastering of sound kind of worked very well. I mean, the bridge was worked so nicely and really got it flowing. So,
yeah. I mean, sorry.
I was going to say, I find it really catchy. I mean, I really like the fast pacedness of it and the repetitive drum beat. And I was going to say, I presume it's a keyboard and not a dulcimer in the background, is it?
It's a cymbal.
Oh right, okay. Because I started playing the dulcimer and it just had that kind of sound to me. That
yes,
awesome.
it's an instrument called a cymbalum, which is a freaky horizontal harp thing from Hungary.
Oh right.
Yeah, so that's what that is, and that definitely, you know, when we chucked that down, we were just like, oh, this is what this song's been waiting for. Because I had that riff that the cymbalum plays for quite a while, and you know, it was just being played on guitar or piano or something like that. And kind of just for fun, we just kind of started messing around with it on different things. And as soon as we hit that with a bit of reverb and stuff, we were just like, yes, that's the money shot right there.
But it really does, because
felt like we were in the Clash suddenly. It was cool.
It just really stands out, I thought. But I have to talk about the video, because for me, I mean, you in freezing cold North Welsh waters. Oh my God, that must have been a night. Did you have thermals on?
No, that was a really stupid idea. But yeah, basically, as soon as it was funny, like when I wrote that song, and then just through the process of recording it, it just grew stronger. My desire to, I just saw that as the video from the get go, and it just so happened that I was given an opportunity with a little record label up in Manchester to shoot that video in January, and so I took that opportunity, went up to North Wales with their video guy, and yeah, it was just horrible. Had to get in the sea in my tuxedo on the 27th of January or something like that, with this kind of the rain battering down, the wind howling across this Welsh sea. It was yeah, I kind of just looked at it before I went into it and just thought, man, I hate my ideas.
But I have to say, I thought it was really effective, and I loved the way you were kind of going across, you know, the beach, sort of dragging the violin and the key. I mean, I thought it was great. It really worked, and so it was worth all the pain and freezing.
Yeah, I mean, I really love that video, and it completely fulfills what I wanted, you know, my kind of dream I had for her. And I think actually, you know, in hindsight, it wouldn't have worked had it been some kind of nice, sunny, lovely day. You know, it's a song filled with trauma and turmoil, and it needed that kind of sense of rescue to it that the video gives it. You know, so I'm extremely happy with how it turned out, and it was worth getting sick for, you know, the rest of my life.
Have you done any acting at all? Sort of in your, you know, any Amdram or anything?
Amdram a little bit. I've had friends I've had friends who make films and do different roles in filmmaking, and they've asked me to, maybe only 3 times in my life or something, where people have said, oh, I reckon you could pull this role off for me or something, and I've helped them out, like just at uni projects or stuff like that, you know.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
Oh, loads of fun, and it's like, it's great to help a friend out. It's great if you know, well, I think I helped them. but yeah, it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it.
Right. Well, I have 2 questions for you. First off, the name Officer. What made you decide on that?
I just thought it was kind of, sexy, I guess.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Well,
I love the word. I love the word. Strangely, I love that it has 7 letters as well. I love as well that with officer, I feel like it's a very... Officer, I feel like it's quite an invasive word on life. I feel like you find officers everywhere, like officers of administration and officers of the police and the army and things like that.
Right.
And I think actually probably in some kind of subconscious level growing up in Northern Ireland informed it a little bit.
Fair enough.
So maybe there's just a little bit of kind of weight to it in that sense as well.
Fair enough. I was just curious. It's just really random, so... And,
it is right. Yeah.
But
also, like originally it was suggested to me by Jen, my wife, and it was kind of like, it wasn't till about a year after that I chose it, but I just mulled it over and just was like, I actually think that completely suits the way I do things, So.
Hang on. Well, as far as songwriting goes, like, how does your production process works? I know you already kind of talked about a little bit, saying you kind of lock yourself away from like all influence, but is that like a regular thing, or
is that something I regularly do?
Yeah, well, right. I mean, your songwriting process, like, how do you come up with it because of a past story, or just kind of start thinking something, start writing it down? Like, how does your process work?
My process works by sitting very. I feel quite blessed in that sense, in that I have this thing where when I sit down with the guitar or like a synth sound or something, I do feel like there's always this kind of well in me or something that I can access, which is kind of not. It's funny. I feel like it's not very tainted by thought processes or trying to sound like anything else. That all those thoughts are not there in that initial moment of creating something, and it's for me. It's just about the interplay of the subject that's kind of spinning around in my head, the way my heart feels, the way my voice sounds, the way the instrument is playing, what I'm I recently was talking to a friend, and she was talking about this theory called, I think it's called the zero zone or something, where that creatives sometimes get into, where judgment is suspended in the initial moment of creation of something. And I really related to that when she said that, because that's exactly how I feel when I sit down with an instrument and start to, and then it's much, much later in the process that I would start to have actual thought processes about what I want it to sound like, or what I want it to come across like, or if I do have a thought of like what I'd like it to be influenced by. If I have a conscious thought like that, it'll be way down the line after that, So, and I kind of like that, because then I feel like things are quite formed and robust already, and can't suddenly be kind of wedged into being some kind of parody of something else. So yeah, I don't know. That's kind of.
Yeah. Right on. Did you ever find, or have you ever written a song and then come back to it later and reworked it, and now it's like much better than you thought it could be?
Yeah. I mean, I think a few of the songs on the album are like that. Actually, probably I would particularly point out. It's funny. The Waters actually was always. The improvement that was an old song that I brought kind of into the fray of a lot of much more recent songs, and wondered, will this work? But we were just, the creative juices were flowing, and it just kind of, I'm so glad I did that, because it kind of, I knew there was potential in that song, and it's always had a decent hook to it, but it just sparked big time when we got when we got some of those sounds going and so forth, and the trauma and turmoil of the song suddenly was there.
Right.
Another song on the album is called Act of Survival, and like I've dropped that song a few times and just kind of not given up on it, but just thought it's not going to come. It's not going to come now. I need to just leave it. And then in the middle of the album sessions, kind of was like loathing coming to do that one actually a little bit, and just going, don't think this one's going to make the cut in the end. And suddenly I just it was just like we had moments like this a lot in the album where we suddenly find the right guitar and synth part for the choruses and changed a couple of chords and stuff going into the choruses and so forth, and suddenly the whole character of the song just clicked into feeling like it was right. Okay. And now I feel like Active Survival is just way better than I ever initially thought it might be. I always believed in it, but now I'm kind of like, man, we smashed that one.
I was just going to say, one of our favourite fans, Dave from Grasscutter, he just basically, he's listening in, and he just said, I dig that what you were saying about coming back to songs, because he said, I always have to read back my song lyrics or poetry to find out what I was going on about. So I think, you're probably not on your own with the songwriting process of actually, revisiting it and actually making it better, sort of in the future. So, I would agree.
Well, from a lyrical point of view, I definitely think that happens to me a lot. Where I think I would definitely have an experience like he's talking about with at least a good whack of my songs where you're just kind of like there's just an expression happening initially, and you're not really necessarily sure what that is or what that kind of. And it crystallizes over time, and it becomes very apparent to you what that initial kind of line that you came up with is about, and then you suddenly that then allows you to start to build the song about what it's really about. And it's Glass Ceiling was a really good one in that way, and in the sense that it just came out of this sense of kind of sadness and frustration of feeling cut off. And I just had that one line from it, Glass Ceiling, I Can't Break You, for ages. Right. And I would just come back and sing that every so often, and it's like a 3-second long song. There's that one, that'll fit in the set.
That'll do the album, big one.
But then, after a few months of that, I started to realise what event in my life and so forth that kind of was pouring out of, and was able to then go, okay, I get it, and follow that lead kind of thing.
I think a lot of creatives are like that though, aren't they? Because obviously